Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome in today. Today I have a fun project and it's taken me a while to get. Had to wait on shipping for quite a while with this little part right here. But this is gonna be a fun little mod that I've been waiting to do on the ROG Ally, and this will convert. You can get them in Gen 3 or Gen 4, but that'll allow from a 2230 M.2 to a full-size 2280, which is significantly cheaper and a lot more storage. And so I'm going to take the 2230 Gen 4 1 terabyte out, and we're going to be putting in a 2280 2 terabyte Gen 4 from Crucial. And while we're doing that, I'm going to do a couple of the tweaks to this that I've been wanting to do since I'm going to be tearing into it again. And we're going to be taking the phase changing thermal pad out. I'm going to be replacing it and repasting it with Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut Extreme and see if we can drop a 1 or 2 C there. And then I'm also going to be taking the intake filters out to try to allow those fans as maximum airflow as possible. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. And with this, you can get these in Gen 3 and Gen 4. This is a Gen 4 device, so make sure that you're paying attention to that if you do order it. But it is a nice mod that they came out with. The 2230s are a lot more expensive than the 2280s. I've already done a teardown on the Asus Ally, so I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to cut straight forward to when the back cover is off and the screws are out. Okay, so now with that back cover off, what we're going to wind up doing is we're going to take off the little shielding right there. We're going to pop out the old M.2. We are going to set it aside for right now because there's a couple other things that we are going to wind up doing first before we put that in there. And it can be kind of a pain to dig out. So we are going to repaste this real quick. And so what we're going to need to wind up doing, the tamper sticker, if you're in the United States, doesn't matter because they can't void your warranty for removing the void if removed stickers. That is not applied if you're in the United States. So those stickers don't matter. Anyways, the companies will try to bully you into voiding your warranty, but they do not have any legal grounds for that if you are in the United States for that. And so the size 1 Phillips screws are going to be smaller than the size 1s for the back of the case. Looking like a double-aught size 1 Phillips. And we are going to remove the looks like there's going to be 2 for the fans. And they're the same size. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and pull the fans out. I think you could separate that tape and pull the heatsink off without pulling the fans off. But I'll go ahead and pull the fans off in case if you have a fan that's dead, I'll pull it all off just that way you can see how to replace them as well. It looks like we might have to move the battery. And so then whenever you do those screws to screw down any sort of cooler onto a CPU GPU, you always want to go in a star motion and do a little bit of time for both taking it off and putting it on. That keeps flex and torque off that motherboard and keeps even pressure when you're removing it and when you're installing it. So you want to do little bits at a time. And it's nice because on the Ally it even gives you that same star pattern. It goes 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So when we go to torque it back down, we'll just go ahead and follow the step-by-step that they provided us with that. Now, I'm not expecting a huge results difference for swapping out the thermal material, the phase changing material with Cryonaut Extreme. Not expecting a whole lot with it. That stuff that they put on is very, very good. I'm not expecting more than maybe 1 or 2 C at best. It's not going to be a huge difference if there is any to be had. Now there is going to be thermal pads under here, it looks like. And so just gently fold it back. We're not going to take those thermal pads off. We're going to leave them where they are. But if you are needing to replace your fan, they are simple to take off. You could probably get them off while leaving this secured on there by simply just taking off the 2 screws and then disconnecting the fan off the motherboard, which is going to be right there for the left one and right there for the right one. And then if you replace the right one, make sure that you put those thermal pads back on as well, because that needs cooling. Now when you go to clean this off, you do have all these tiny capacitors, SMDs, going around the die. Make sure that you're using just a very corner tip of like a blue shop towel. I like blue shop towels because they're lint free. Don't go in there with a microfiber cloth and try scrubbing it with something like this. That will rip off those SMDs and you could potentially kill the unit. So just make sure you go slow, take your time. Don't use something like a Q-tip, but try to pick up a roll of blue shop towels. They work phenomenally well. And then you're obviously going to want to use ice alcohol. It breaks it down really easily. And use the more expensive higher end, like 99%. That stuff does work a lot better with less impurities in it, and you will tend to know less fighting with it, because once you start kind of liquefying the paste, you can start kind of having issues where it just smears it around. The higher quality you go for isopropyl alcohol, the better kind of keeps that from happening and just makes your life a little bit easier. Okay, and then once you get it something like that where it's nice and shiny, what we are going to wind up doing now, and this is a personal opinion and kind of a slightly unpopular one, but to each their own. And if you don't like doing it, then that is perfectly fine. I like to frost all of my CPUs, GPUs, and dies. It guarantees full coverage. You don't have to worry about mounting pressure and that it didn't squish out in the right way, to make sure that you don't have any pockets. Since this doesn't have an IHS on it and that is direct die, you need to make sure every square millimeter of that is covered. And one of the cheap and easy ways of doing that and guaranteeing it is making sure you frost it. Now with the Cryonaut Extreme, it's going to be pink. If you have one and it's gray and it's Cryonaut, that is going to be regular Cryonaut. My tube of regular is gray, where my Extreme tube is pink. And so what we're going to do, the pink stuff is not cheap, so you definitely don't want to waste it. But you just need a thin, light coat, and it's very thin. Not thick, it's a very thin paste. And so you just want to put some out. And you also can do this with a little spatula. that is what you're going to be looking at. And make sure you clean whatever it is you're using, because if you've ever used thread anti-seize for like spark plugs and stuff like that, that stuff gets everywhere. You literally can use the smallest amount and you will turn silver. This is the same way. This stuff is no joke. It will get everywhere without you realizing it. So now what we're going to do is remount this and put it back up just like it was, being careful of those thermal pads underneath. And kind of look down real quick, make sure those thermal pads are lined up where they are supposed to be. And then we will set her down. And then we are going to do just like this says. We're going to start at 1, kind of hold it down. And we're just going to get the threads started. And then we're going to go to number 2 just to get the thread start. 3, thread start. 4, thread start, and then come back to 1, go to 2, go to 3, go to 4, go back to 1, 2, 3, 4, go back to 1, and now we can go to snug. Go to snug, go to snug, and snug, and then go through, double check that by tightening one side, it didn't loosen up another side. And now we have just repasted the ally. And what we have to do now is get these 4 screws back into the fans. And they're all the same size. They all have blue Loctite on them, so there is no need to worry about where exactly they came from. Always make sure that you get all of your screws started before you tighten them all down, so in case you need to shift something just a tad, it gives you that flexibility. Now for this M.2, I've been super excited to do this. I couldn't wait to get my hands on one, but it took forever to get it into the States. So again, this is a Gen 4. I got this off of Amazon, but you can get them on eBay too. And it just adapts the 2230 into a 2280. And so we're going to go ahead, socket this in very carefully, just like so. Get that screw line back up, and then we are going to mount this PCB down. This screw is a little bit bigger. Should be back to the size 1 now from the double aught. Awesome. So now we got that mounted down. Now we're going to take the M.2 screw off. So they are getting cheaper and cheaper. It is ridiculous how cheap these are. I got this for 80 bucks on Amazon for Crucial. And so we're gonna socket this one in just like so. Get our screw On and ready. And the only other thing that I have on the way that I haven't got in yet, and I'm actually really excited for it. I think it'll look really cool, especially with no shield on and with the M.2, the bigger M.2, and I think it'll look really cool, is the clear back cover for the Ally. I have one on order. I can't wait to get it in. Don't know if I'll do a video on that because it's just a basic back swap, but that'll look really, really cool as well. And so the only other thing that we are gonna do, I'm not necessarily worried about cleaning it out. It hasn't really accumulated that much dust yet. Do have a lot of hours on it, especially on Starfield, but nothing that is, and I'm gonna leave this shield off as well. The shield I'm not putting back on, just to try to get as much airflow as I can to the controllers and the NAND chips for the M.2, just to keep it as cool as possible. And what I'm gonna do now is see if I can work on peeling this off. I might have to take a heat gun to it, to be honest. And like I think I said earlier, all of my computers I take off the inlet mesh anyways. All of my custom water cooling computers, I don't run intake filters, intake screens. I just let them blow free and service them a little bit more often. I think with that we can use a flathead and try to work in there a little bit and just get the little ones that are trying to stay behind. Doesn't look pretty, but you won't see it's inside. And when I get my new back cover on anyways, it won't really matter because the back cover doesn't have that mesh on it. So that won't make too much of a difference anyways, because the new cover won't have that. I like this cover. The cover is really nice, but I do like the crystal clear one and being able to see the electronics. I think that is really cool. I love that type of stuff. Back in the day, my Sony PSP, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, I did all the aftermarket things for that to be able to do the 90s clear covers. My PS5 has the clear side covers on it just to be able to see electronics. I think that's really cool. Nokia Brick had the LED lights and everything on it with the clear covers. I like that type of stuff. I know a lot of people may not, but that's why the beautiful thing about electronics is it gives you the option to customize it exactly how you want. That is the beautiful thing about that. And so from here, we're just gonna slap the back cover on real quick, and I'll meet you guys back. In order to boot it up, you will have to plug it in. It won't let you turn it on while it is, after you've taken the back cover off. So you will have to plug it in. So now that we have a brand new hard drive in it, it will load you straight into BIOS. And that's the nice thing about it, is once you're in here, you can do a lot of different things. And so we got our CPU temperature down here. The fan's at 0%. And so it'll tell you the BIOS version and everything. I haven't downloaded the 333 is currently out. I'm currently running 331. Okay, so what we're gonna do now that we're in BIOS is we need to get Windows 11 and everything installed back on it to get to where we were. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down to advanced mode down here. So you can either scroll down or hit Y. We're gonna go over to advanced and we're gonna click cloud recovery. And so you're gonna go through all of that. And then it will basically reinstall everything to do just like it was when you first got it and picked it up. Hey guys, what's going on? So once you get through the process of the cloud recovery, it'll take a while. It'll probably take about an hour to get through everything, but in BIOS, once you click on it, it'll then after a while prompt you if you want to back up your data. If you're installing a brand new drive like what I did in this video, you don't have to worry about backing up any of your data because there is no data on it. It's a brand new drive. So just click no, run through it, and then it just basically set it down, plug it in to the 65-watt charger, and just let it be. It'll eventually ask you to connect to the internet again once you start getting into Windows, but it'll just keep rebooting as it's installing all the drivers. Just let it do its thing, let it hang out on the charger, and then once you get into the Windows 11 installation, it'll be just like when you bought it. You're setting up Windows 11, sign into your account, and all of the bloatware that comes with Windows, and all of the different things. Once you get into Windows, then you have to re-download like Windows updates, if there's any. Go into my Asus, look for driver updates. I had a couple different updates on for drivers as well. But then once it's back into Windows, you are good to go with a new drive, in this case a 2280. If you guys found this helpful, if you guys liked it, like what I'm doing here, like, subscribe, it really helps me out. Comment down below if you guys have an ally, if you guys like this mod, if you guys are planning on doing this mod. It was fun. It took me a while to get this in from out of states, but I was super excited to do it. Bought another thing of Crowd Not Extreme just to repaste it just for fun. Hope you guys have a good day, and see you next time.